nurse over at ECU. I've been amputated, well, I had a motorcycle accident in 2017. 2019, we decided that the 3 failed surgeries with the pins broken and like that, the screws out, that it wasn't worth trying to 3 more surgeries and the possibility of never really being more than 50%. I was in a lot of pain. My legs would swell up considerably by the end of my work day. I looked like an elephant. So we just decided at that point, amputation would be the way to go, and I've never been happier. So in 2019, I had a below the knee amputation. Leg was removed from about here. I used to call the old leg Arthur because I had a patient who was Arthur and he was a real pain in my... Anyway, Andy is my new leg. You'll find a lot of amputees name their legs. Since then, I have gotten a service dog. This is Molly. I've had her since she was 3 months old, and she's now, on January 1st, will be 3 years old. Other than that, she helps with steps and stability, grass, things like that. She keeps me steady. In 2019, when I had it removed, I talked to my manager at work. They gave me a 6-month stay. I was back within 6 months. I was back working, and I retired a year and a half ago. I worked another 5 years, and now I work S&P, so I go back in whenever they need extra help. I have had both. I've had the suction socket, which I've recently, this last one I've had for a year now, and this is the pin-lock, and I do like this one a little bit better. Gives me a little bit more control and stability, in my opinion anyway. It's very easy to put on and off. Sometimes I'll use the other one if I'm using for the gym, and I'll use this one for my everyday. I'm fortunate enough to have the computerized one. It has a plug in the back here. I charge it up every night. As I said, this is my friend Andy. Andy and I have come to, this has gotten much more in shape since I've had the prosthesis on for a long time. But you take your liner with the pin in it, and you make sure that it's located right at the end of the leg, and you can see the pin pop out here, and it has to be exactly straight. If it's not, and I had done it where it's off to the side a couple of times, the leg will not fit properly, and it's kind of a real pain. The other thing to make sure is that just slides right up. It fits really, really well. A lot of people will say put this in the front. I don't think that really much matters, but the second one, like I said, I put on. Now this one, definitely you want to have lined up so that the 2 seams are on either side. There's a seam right here and a seam over here. If you don't, it's a little bit more tight at that spot, and so bending the knee becomes a little bit harder. So it's important to have that. Normally, you would wear one of or multiple socks to make this work, and I've heard that some people during the day, during wearing this, will find that they have to change the socks to a different level during the day because this compresses your leg. And so as it does that, it's kind of like wearing a compression sock. And so your leg is going to shrink a little bit. This is a 1. It's very, very thin. It's kind of like stocking cap material. It's very, very thin. This one would be a green one. Is considered a 3, and it's 3-ply. I remember this because green is closer to the earth, kind of like grass. That's green. A 5 would be a higher one. It's blue, so it's kind of like the sky. Remember that. You can use any combination of these, and when I go on vacation, for instance, I'll take at least one of each one of these. And that way, if things get changed during the course of my vacation, you tend to eat more, you might put on a little weight. This might fit a little too snug, then I want to change it to something else. So you really have to make it your own. The other thing I brought today was the charger. And that just plugs into the back of my leg, right there. And I just stick it on every night. This is my second leg. I've had him now for a year. And my other leg I've had for, since 2019. That battery is still fantastic on it, but I plug it in every night, charge it like I do my phone. Fairly easy to put on. Nothing much to it. I just just have to make sure that that peg sticks out in the bottom. One of the things that my prosthesist told me, and it had happened once, is that with these socks, occasionally you're going to get where they start to get worn, and there might be a thread that shows up in here. You push this down into, good. When you push this down into here, there is a set of pins, or a set of metal pieces that clamp onto this to make sure it will never move. And that's controlled with this. But occasionally, if you get a string stuck down in there with that pin, he's had patients who had to come in and have him take them off because they don't. I had it happen once, and I was able to get it off with a little bit of force. So you always want to look at your leg and make sure that both the leg itself and then each one of these is in good shape, because it can be a real problem if you don't. And then putting that in, you just kind of line that up with the hole in the bottom. And then you have to stand, and there's the sound. So the other aspect of it is that when you hear that clicking sound, you're going to hear probably 5 or 6 clicks, and that's where you want to be. If it doesn't totally seat in there, and I've never really had that happen on my own, but if it doesn't really totally seat in there, I'm told it'll wiggle a little bit more. It's not seated in there well. It doesn't become one part of your leg. It's kind of almost like you're wearing some weights or something on the bottom. But generally, if you're getting in there, it clicks all down really good. When you stand up, you'll notice whether or not it'll click sometimes 1 or 2 more. But you want to definitely be as far down in there as you can possibly be. At the end of the day, I will, before getting into bed, usually Molly's on the bed, but I'll have my rollator in front of me, pushing the button, hear a nice snap. That's always a comforting snap. Occasionally, like I said, if you were to have the spring in there, had gotten in there, you might have to really wank it a little bit. But generally, a good push, and it just lifts right out. It just opens right out. From there, it's just a matter of removing the socks that you have on. There is a shrinker that often you'll be given at the beginning of your amputation to help shrink the leg down. That may change in size from time to time, but yeah, I remove that. I like to take this and put it underneath some clothes or something like that, because I like to sleep in a cold room, and it's not fun to put this on in the morning when it's cold. But then, yeah, the shrinker just kind of slides right on top. It's like a nylon nightcap almost, if you will. And that's it. Use my rollator walker over to the bed, climb into bed. To maintain the cleanliness of the liner, there are solutions you can get on Amazon, all kinds of things, but generally a dish soap, a little bit of dish soap and some warm water, wash it down. And at night, I found a paper towel roll, the kind that sits on your counter. It's perfect for this size. You just slide it over that, let it dry overnight. I have 2 of these, so I put the other one on the next day, but this one can go on the day after that. And yep, they just one at a time get washed and taken care of. The cotton things, I have enough of those, so I just throw those in the wash every couple of days, and very easy to maintain. I think the biggest complaint I've had by anybody, a couple of my patients as well, these are heavy. It's about 14 pounds. The inside liner, the same thing. I would just use a little bit of mild soap, dish soap or like that. You can wash down in through here. I don't like it to be too awfully wet because I'm always concerned that I'm getting too much down inside the pin mechanism. So it's damp at that point, and then I usually will dry it. Make sure that that's dry. I have a mirror that's right next to the chair that I use this, and I will check this every day before I put on the liner just to see where I'm at. There are a couple of lotions that I would put on the night before. I wouldn't put them on when I'm putting this on because it could cause a little to be slippery. But I always look at the bottom. There's always a little bit of a trench there. Everybody has one. And just to make sure that there's no redness, no breakdown. Occasionally, if it's not fitting properly, you'll see maybe a little bit of redness. I had one time where it developed like a blister. Hi, Dan. like a blister right there. And I put a small Band-Aid over top of it, and that was enough to do it. But yep, I inspect it every night just to make sure that nothing's changed and everything's good. I live alone, so I wanted to make sure that I was fully capable of taking care of the new prosthesis. I did not have the new prosthesis while I was in rehab. I went from the operating room to post-op, and then I requested rehab, which was good because they worked on things such as my balance, standing with one leg. Tried to close my eyes. That was not very, but I had to walk around in front of me. The people there were fantastic. A lot of tips on things like showering and how to properly take care of the leg. We were there for 10 days, and half of the day I would be in the rehab gym, and everything from walking with crutches to walking with a walker to finding out what works best for me. I find that the walker works best for me. Crutches just never really worked out well. But just everything from showering to care of the prosthesis to the leg to yeah, it was great. They were very good. Afterwards, I did follow up with some PT afterwards, and their thing was more along the lines of watching me walk and saying, okay, you don't realize it yet, but you're kind of listening to the one side a little bit. And so we worked on walking the circles and around the gym and making sure that I was able to do so without putting too much pressure, because they said, you'll find it in your hips very quickly. But, no, it was great. Well, there are a lot of tips and secrets that I've learned over time. One of the things that I do is I have a rollator walker. So when I don't have the leg on, which is not very often, but let's say at nighttime I get up in the morning, use the men's room, whatever, I'll use my rollator, I'll kneel on it and push with this leg, and that gets me anywhere I need to get in the house. It works very, very well. A couple of tips that I might have is that with this, right now I'm working on getting another one because I lost close to 100 pounds in the last couple of years. 40 of it was this last year. From what I'm told, the spring in the back here is weighted for your weight. And my weight, having dropped 40 pounds, it no longer has quite the elasticity that it used to have. So we are working on getting another one. So in that period of time, I found that instead of wearing a sock, I'm wearing a, it's kind of like the thing you would use with the suction line. And I made a hole in the bottom and I put it on, and it gives me more stability because I can feel like the compression. I can feel the muscles all kind of work together with this on, even more so than just the regular pin lock. But all kinds of little things you make your own. Your prosthesis person is going to be a wealth of knowledge. I bounce things off of mine all the time. They will see me about every 3 months. Oftentimes I'll call them ahead of time and say, don't really need it this time around, we'll schedule it for another 3 months from now. But generally, no, it's very easy to take care of. It's just, you want to, when you first get it, they're going to tell you wear it for an hour today, 2 hours tomorrow, and like that. I was bad. I went straight to the store with it on, and I've never taken it off since. You just get used to wearing it, and it becomes part of you.